and the Jets game. 3rd and 5. Baker Mayfield can ice it with a first down here. He wants a touchdown, and he had Odell Beckham. He had Odell Beckham for a touchdown. I mean, a first down would have iced the game. Touchdown obviously would have pretty much done the same thing, but he missed him.
In our meetings, the fact that he and Baker weren't at the point yet where Baker would trust him to throw him the ball even when he's covered, and that's something that Freddie Kitchens talked about, the juxtaposition between trying to develop a quarterback and just going to your playmaker. But Rich, you talked about it all game. In those critical moments, you got to trust one of the best playmakers in the entire NFL and find him and give him the ball and give him a chance.
Hey, Jay, the critical on a corner like Chris Harris, he's got to beat off the line of scrimmage. I think you got to throw him the football. Give him a chance to make a play.
Denver.
And I don't think Baker Mayfield was even thinking about these. And that guy right there.
Where do you go from here if you're Odell Beckham Jr.? You're just been cut. Hopefully he's going to clear waivers. I don't think the Detroit Lions are going to pick him up. And the situation in Cleveland was not good. Pro Football Focus had Odell Beckham in the 60s ranked receiver. I mean, Odell clearly hasn't been Odell these past couple of years. But who is that really to blame? Now, you can put a ton of the blame on Baker Mayfield, and the clips shown before this. Baker Mayfield and OBJ have never really had a great connection, and stats show that Baker Mayfield's better when Odell isn't playing. The Browns' offense just runs smoother without Odell, and that's not something you typically say. I guarantee you say this in 2015, 2016 when Odell was on the Giants. You don't go, oh, the Giants' offense looks a lot better without Odell. Odell, realistically back then, and looking into the future, you would say would be a top 3 receiver right now, and he's fallen off a cliff, it would seem like, when he got to Cleveland, especially they had a big trade package for him and everything, and now Odell is not Odell. Now, you can put a lot of the blame on Baker Mayfield, but you also need to put some blame on Odell Beckham Jr. because when he does get those passes thrown toward him, he can't catch them, bring them in, and make plays, which is something that you're not used to saying. I still think most of the blame deserves to go to Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield's one of the very few quarterbacks in the league who are completely overrated and suck at making reads. Baker Mayfield is the quarterback. He'll see somebody before the snap says, and he says, I'm throwing it to this guy no matter what. And unfortunately, it doesn't help Odell's case because 90% of the time it's, I'm going to throw it to Jarvis Landry, or I'm going to throw it to Odell when he's covered. Don't matter. I'm forcing it there. Baker Mayfield can't really read plays, make changes, and throw the ball somewhere else. He sees a player, and he goes with that the entire play, whether they're covered or not. And some of the plays where he's thrown to OBJ, he's covered heavily, he's double covered. And then there's plays where Odell Beckham Jr. is wide open and he can't get the ball to him. But Odell Beckham Jr. has officially been cut. He's a free agent now, and the question lies of where will he sign and who wants him. Nobody traded for Odell. I believe that he was on the trade block. That was kind of a big surprising thing right there, that nobody wanted Odell Beckham Jr. Think about that real quick. Imagine saying to yourself in 2016, nobody wants Odell Beckham Jr., but here we are in 2021 where nobody wants Odell Beckham Jr. Where will he go? There's going to be teams offering him. He's going to get a shot to be a number 1, number 2, number 3 receiver anywhere. And there's some places, like some people say, oh, he's got a good relationship with Tom Brady. I just want to shut that down immediately. The receivers over there barely get enough passes to keep them all happy themselves. They're winning games. They're happy with that. But I guarantee you throw Odell Beckham Jr. in there who wants a bunch of passes his way, it's not going to run as smooth. I believe the Patriots' name has been brought up a couple times. Bill Belichick and Odell, they have mad respect for each other. Question is, does Odell want to go to New England with a rookie quarterback? Granted, Mac Jones is the best rookie quarterback out of this draft class so far, stat-wise and everything. Mac Jones is keeping his ground. He held his ground against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's held his ground against most teams in the NFL. But do you go there? I think Seattle would be nice. I think that you already have 2 receivers there, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. But if Odell wants to be a 3rd receiver and he'll be happy with that role, I think that's a perfect scenario for him. I don't believe Tennessee is a good option. I heard that been brought up a couple times. Pittsburgh is not going to be a great option in my opinion. Again, Big Ben's proven everybody wrong these past couple weeks, but I'm not sure how long he can keep it up. It's a tough call right now to make where you want to put Odell Beckham Jr. And my honest opinion, I think he should go back to the Giants. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I think Odell played the best under the bright lights in New York, and I think a lot of people can agree playing in New York does something to you. It changes your whole game. You playing under the biggest lights out of the NFL every night, night in, night out, You got some of the most diehard fans of the league. I think he should go back to the New York Giants. I think other than the Giants, I think the Packers would be one nice spot. Man, Randall Cobb's the second leader in receptions over there. And the man's like 35 years old. Randall Cobb obviously is outside of his prime. But the Packers have never really gone out and gotten Aaron Rodgers receiving weapons. And Odell would be a nice change to that, especially if they want to keep Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I think Odell would do a hell of a lot to keep him there. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is one nasty receiver. You put him behind Aaron Rodgers, who can make plays. I think this is one nasty duo. And I think that Odell could be in the 90s club in Madden if this happens again. So, just throwing that out there. I think the 49ers would be a nice spot. Odell wanted to go there 2 years ago, but the Giants did not want to trade it to them. I think Odell Beckham Jr.'s the 49ers right now would be a nasty move. I think that that would really boost this 49ers offense, who were in the Super Bowl not that long ago. I think they could have another shot back in there if they get some more receiving weapons. I think that's one nice move. I think the Cincinnati Bengals would also be one hell of a spot for Odell Beckham Jr. to land. I think Odell would do a hell of a lot of things with Jamar Chase lined up the other side of him. I think that offense would be a nightmare for any opposing defense. I think that would be really scary. I think the Rams are also a great spot. Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Jackson was recently cut. Imagine replacing an old Deshaun Jackson with Odell Beckham Jr. That would be one good move. You got Cooper Kupp already there and Woods, two stud receivers. You throw old Beckham Jr. into that mix, it's nasty. Matthew Stafford is already having one hell of a year. He's going to have one more hell of a year. If Odell Beckham Jr. lands there, he's going to have receivers for days on that team. And I think that would be a nice pickup for Odell. But all in all, I think I stand by what I said. I think going back to New York would be the best position for Odell. That fans love him. I mean, who really hates Odell? Except for Cleveland fans now, but I think they may feel it a little bit more. But if he went to the Giants, that would be nasty. I know I said it earlier, but you could maybe have an argument that Daniel Jones should stay there then. I mean, Daniel Jones isn't playing a bad year this year by any means necessary. He doesn't have the greatest receiving targets, and you get Odell back up under the lights of New York, and I think it's a wrap for discussing if Daniel Jones was the right pick.
Okay,